Welcome. Today we're traveling back to the early 1600s, to a time of secrets, danger, and a plot that almost changed the course of British history. This is the story of Guy Fawkes and the infamous Gunpowder Plot. A tale of courage, desperation, and a night remembered for centuries. Let's set the stage and meet the people who risked everything for what they believed in. In 1605, England was a land of deep religious division. Protestantism was the law of the land, but many people still practiced Catholicism in secret. Catholics faced harsh penalties, heavy fines, exclusion from public life, and sometimes even imprisonment for following their faith. For some, this situation felt hopeless, and a few believed only a dramatic act could bring change. Guy Fawkes was born in York in 1570. He grew up in a Protestant family, but after his father's death, his mother married a Catholic. Guy soon converted and became deeply committed to his faith. As a young man, he left England to fight for Catholic Spain in the 80 Years' War. Learning about warfare and, crucially, about gunpowder, skills that would play a central role in his later life. Back in England, another man was growing restless, Robert Catesby. Charismatic and passionate, Catesby was convinced that only drastic action could end Catholic suffering. He began to gather a group of trusted Catholic friends to join him in a secret plot to strike at the very heart of English power. Catesby's group started small but grew to include Thomas Percy, Thomas Wintour, Jack Wright, Robert Keyes, and later Guy Fawkes. Each man brought unique skills, from political connections to expertise with weapons. They met in hidden rooms, swearing oaths of secrecy by candlelight, determined to change the fate of Catholics in England, even if it meant risking their lives. Their plan was bold. Some would say reckless. They would blow up the House of Parliament during the state opening, killing King James I, his ministers, and members of Parliament all at once. In the chaos that followed, they hoped to spark a rebellion and install a Catholic monarch. The stakes were incredibly high. Failure would mean certain death for them all. The plotters needed access to Parliament itself. In March 1605, Thomas Percy, pretending to be a royal servant, rented a cellar directly beneath the House of Lords. The cellar was dark, damp, and perfect for hiding something dangerous. It was here that their deadly plan would take shape. Over the next months, the plotters secretly moved 36 barrels of gunpowder into the cellar, enough to cause a massive explosion. The barrels were hidden under piles of firewood and coal. Guy Fawkes, under the alias John Johnson, stayed nearby to guard the stash and prepare for the fateful day. As the months dragged on, nerves grew frayed. The opening of Parliament was delayed several times due to fears of plague. The conspirators had to wait, living double lives, keeping their secret even from family and friends. Any slip could mean disaster for them all. Some plotters began to worry about the innocent lives that would be lost, especially Catholic lords who might be attending Parliament that day. Tensions rose, and heated debates broke out among the group. But Catesby was resolute. The sacrifice, he argued, was necessary for the greater good of all Catholics. Just days before the planned attack, Lord Monteagle, a Catholic nobleman, received a mysterious letter warning him to stay away from Parliament. Monteagle was alarmed and showed the letter to the authorities, who became suspicious and ordered an immediate search of Parliament cellars. In the early hours of November 5th, guards entered the cellars and found Guy Fawkes, dressed for travel and carrying matches in a slow fuse. At first, he claimed he was simply a servant, but the barrels of gunpowder told a different story. He was arrested on the spot and taken to the Tower of London. Fawkes faced relentless questioning. First, he gave a false name and insisted he acted alone. But as the days passed and torture was used, a legal practice at the time, Fawkes finally revealed the names of his fellow conspirators and the full scope of the plot. With the plot uncovered, the authorities launched a nationwide search for the other conspirators. Catesby and several others tried to flee, but they were soon cornered at Holbeach House. A shootout followed, and several plotters, including Catesby, were killed. The rest were captured and brought to trial. The surviving conspirators, including Guy Fawkes, were put on trial for treason. The evidence was overwhelming, and they were all found guilty. Their sentence was harsh: to be hanged, drawn, and quartered, the most brutal punishment for traitors in England. The trial was a public spectacle, meant to send a message to anyone considering rebellion. On January 31st, 1606, Guy Fawkes and his co-conspirators faced their fate in Westminster. Huge crowds gathered to witness the executions. Fawkes, weakened by torture, managed to leap from the gallows, breaking his neck and dying instantly, sparing himself the worst of the agony. It was a grim end to a deadly plot. The failed plot sent shockwaves to England. The government responded with even harsher laws against Catholics, making life even more difficult for those who remained loyal to the old faith. But for most people, there was relief and even celebration that the king and parliament had survived. A rhyme quickly spread through the streets. Remember, remember, the 5th of November. Gunpowder treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. The words are still recited across Britain every bonfire night, keeping the story alive for new generations. Bonfire Night, or Guy Fawkes Night, is celebrated every year on November 5th with fireworks, bonfires, and the burning of effigies called guys. Children make their own guys and ask for a penny for the guy, while families gather to watch dazzling fireworks displays. It's a night of fun, history, and remembrance. Guy Fawkes' face has become a symbol for rebellion, especially thanks to the comic and film V for Vendetta. The iconic mask is now worn by protesters around the world. But beyond the mask is a real story, a warning about extremism and a reminder of the power of belief, hope, and change. Thank you for joining this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more amazing tales from history. See you next time.